and spent the night in jail in Las Vegas and eventually ended up on trial, a very dramatic trial that ended with our being found guilty and sentenced to time served for our one night in jail. And a bit of history you should know too. This gate here, you can hardly tell what it is. This is the old service entrance. The one about 1.5 miles or so north looks like a military base. It has the big stone sign, Creech Air Force Base, and the names of the units there. And it has a very formal iron fence and a very and a guard post that looks like a military guard post. This looks like some kind of industrial site.
Which was added after we started picketing.
Right, well, when we walked through the gates, when we walked inside, they closed those gates behind us, and they closed that gate. It has not been open for normal service ever since. At that time, they started directing the traffic down to this one that was hardly ever used before, and this is now the main gate. But I think my personal thing is they wanted to deprive us of the photo op of having us blocking a gate where it says Creech Air Force Base, home of the drones, etc. So we have had an effect. They have opened up that gate. As far as I know, the only times they've opened it is when we blocked this gate. They direct traffic that way, which is something we need to talk about later, being prepared for Friday. But also, another piece of recent history, if you look, see there's this casino and food store. There's a casino there. There was a gas station, a convenience store, and then next to it a little motel. It was a very, very nice place. And some of the only businesses in this poor little town. And back in October, the Air Force bought those businesses and just to shut them down. And the excuse they gave to the media was they needed a buffer against potential terrorists. My own opinion is that we were using the bathrooms there and buying coffee, and that casino had a very nice breakfast buffet that we often availed ourselves of. And they wanted to keep that from us, but we brought our porta potties, and we're here. So that's a part of the history, and we're going to be making some more history. And Code Pink is another organization that got involved in the resistance here very early on, and Toby's here to tell you some of that.
And Martha's supposed to join me. So this is Martha Hubert approaching my Code Pink sister from the Bay Area. And she and I have been kind of the leading anti-drone work at Creech Air Force Base, organizing trips down here. And I just want to give a special warm thanks to Louis Vitale, my dear friend, our dear friend, for really getting the ball going, doing the research, and everybody that helped him, and the Creech 14, because we were lucky enough to be at that trial in 2010, right? It was just the most incredible trial. Did you talk about it? I'm sorry, I was distracted. No.
I just said it happened, and it was pretty dramatic.
Well, I just want to say it's a trial that probably will never happen again, because the judge insisted that witnesses and the expert witnesses talk only about trespassing and nothing else. But in fact, he allowed them to talk at length. We had Ramsey Clark, Colonel Ann Wright, who's here with us. Where is she? And what was the fellow from Bill Quigley, who's a lawyer with the Center for Constitutional Rights. Anyway, so but back in 2009, when I first found out about drone warfare, Creech 14 had already done their act, and Bay Area Code Pink had organized a trip in July of that year, just a couple months later. And ever since then, I and Martha and other people have organized Bay Area Code Pink trips down here. We've come down here at least once a year since 2009, sometimes twice a year. We were here in April and November. And usually it's been a small group of 7 or 10 or sometimes a couple times we had like 18, 20. But this last November we had Colonel Ann Wright, who's been out with us several times. And the night before she was leaving, she got us all gathered in the guest house of the Goddess Temple, and she said, "We need to have a mass mobilization out here."
Shut down Creech.
And my eyes lit up, and then I thought for a second that, "Oh, that's a great idea, Ann, but who's going to do all the work?" But we reached out to all the organizations that you we've already announced, have been part of organizing this small steering committee, grassroots. Some of us have never done anything this big before. And as the couple months progressed, seeing all the interest, especially strong Veterans for Peace from all over the country. Thank you, Veterans for Peace. And we, Martha and I believe Brian and others, we want this to be an ongoing campaign. We want to do it at least once a year, and we want it bigger and better every year until this Air Force Base is shut down. And so I just want to, well, the other thing we want to talk about, one of the reasons that allows us to keep coming up here every year, because it's kind of tough work, especially just of small numbers, is this wonderful magical place, Goddess, Temple of Goddess Spirituality, which is kind of a mouthful to say, so we like to just call it the Goddess Temple. And you can you see the Goddess Temple from here? No, but when you're driving up the highway, you'll see it off to the left, and you'll all be able to visit this place. Martha's going to talk a little bit.
We'll be there on Sunday. That's where we're having our final meal and
Friday.
I'm sorry.
Friday.
Thank you. On Friday. And I want to really encourage people to come here in your affinity groups. 5 or 6 people, 4, 10. I mean, we've been here with 2 people and done some protesting, and well, that's when they had the barricades up and we could hang our signs all over them. But it's a great place to visit. Candace is lovely. It's a nice place to stay. I mean, it's not fancy, but you can enjoy the desert. You can go see the wild horses in between, the protests. We protest in the morning, the afternoon, just as we're doing today. And it's really a great experience to be out here. So I encourage everybody, especially with your affinity group, all you have to do is call Candace and say, we want to come this time. It's a gifting economy. You can either maybe help her with some project if you don't have money, or give her some money, or she's very open about whatever way you want to pay back.
And it's a place where we kind of get rejuvenated. And as Martha said, the beautiful walks in the desert, this countryside is absolutely beautiful, and it rewards us.
And there's hot springs around here.
At some point this morning, I want to talk about a little bit of logistics, but should we move on to the next thing, and then we'll get to the logistics at the end? Okay. So, we are honored to, is Dave Patterson here back ready to speak? Dave Patterson? Okay. Some of you may know Dave Patterson. He's the president of San Diego Veterans for Peace.
Not president anymore.
Oh, not president, excuse me.
They kicked me out.
No, hopefully not. But he was asked us if he could do a little speech here about militarism and other important things, and here he is. Give him a hand.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. So, I just want to remind everybody that what we're seeing in the world today is this reaction of, it's like a fission reaction of violence. And just like any nuclear reaction, if you put all the reactive